So this one came as a bit of a surprise. There had been some rumblings. I didn't think Dylan Raiola would actually leave Nebraska, but he did. And the last impression Husker fans have of the former 5-star recruit is that he got hurt in a game against USC that they had. They were ranked in the top 25, I believe, at the time. And yeah, it went downhill from there. At least they got to a bowl game, but 7-5 is not what that Nebraska team should have been. So I don't know the details about why Dylan Raiola is leaving Nebraska. This one strikes me as curious to say the least. Sam Leavitt is going to go somewhere and get more money. I understand that. Brendan Sorsby, for his last year of college football, I discussed Indiana being a fit. His girlfriend transferred to Texas Tech, who I also mentioned the other day on the show. Yeah, that would fit really, really well. Probably get more money, be in a better situation. All of that. What is Dylan Raiola looking for? This is not a guy who you'd classify as a 5-star bust in any way, shape, or form. You can't do it. And look, I understand everybody's first instinct with Dylan Raiola. Understandably so, because I'm not saying it's false. It certainly isn't. Yes, he idolizes Patrick Mahomes, and he tries to play like the best quarterback of the modern era. Oh, the horror to try and be like the guy who's won 3 Super Bowls and is going to miss the playoffs this year for the first time in his career and won the division every other season. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Is it dorky? Is it weird? Is the level of detail with the mannerisms compared to Mahomes strange? Yes, 100%. Now give me a non-Mahomes imitating reason why Dylan Raiola isn't a good quarterback. He started as a true freshman. He had some ups and downs. You mean like every other true freshman that starts? What would you want to see in year 2? More consistency, better production, stronger touchdown to interception ratio? Check, check, check. Across the board. This is a guy who has NFL traits, was a big-time recruit for a reason, was a one-time Ohio State commit for a reason, and as a true freshman completed 67% of his passes, 13 touchdowns to 11 picks. Well, that's not great. Yeah, he's a true freshman. It's hard. And you're doing it at a place that hadn't even been to a bowl game since 2016. And as a true freshman, he gets him over the hump. And then he's got him in position to maybe be a dark horse to go to the playoff, and then unfortunately gets hurt. He's completed 72.4% of his passes. He's thrown for 2,000 yards in 9 games this year, 18 touchdowns against 6 picks. Again, remove the Mahomes idolization quirk, which it absolutely is. Give me a football reason why you wouldn't want Dylan Raiola to be your quarterback. I don't really have one. His mechanics could probably get tightened up a little bit. So where could Dylan Raiola go? Well, I've seen Alabama get suggested. They've got Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. I'd be surprised if Alabama was one. Anytime, literally anytime. I feel like broken record until Miami signs a transfer quarterback at this point. Can't blame them. Results are hard to argue with. 20-4 in the last 2 regular seasons for Miami with transfer quarterbacks. Worked out pretty well. So you're going to mention Miami anytime this conversation comes up. Doesn't matter what quarterback goes in the portal, whether it's DJ Lagway, Sam Leavitt, Dylan Raiola, Brendan Sorsby, any of them could fit. I know Sorsby's probably headed to Tech, but like I think a lot could fit at Miami, and it's not even a knock. It's just a reality that we have to deal with. Like, yeah, Miami's probably going to go and get a guy like that. A name that I have seen suggested, a school I have seen suggested. Well, first let me talk about the Oregon angle. Some of you might know I'm an Oregon guy. I think there could be plenty of fit. I talk about it at length over on today's episode of Locked on Ducks. So if you want to hear more on the Oregon side, go check out that segment on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. In short, I think it could absolutely work. I don't think it's a number one need. I think it's slightly more likely than not at this point in time, Dante Moore is back. And if that's the case, Dylan Raiola, unless his injury is going to keep him out for all of 2026, I don't think we'll go to Oregon. But then I saw a school get suggested. And let me tell you, it clicked for me right away. Right away. Is he talented enough to go to a bigger, better school than the one I'm about to suggest. Absolutely. What was the one thing that I mentioned earlier in the segment that he's got to get a little better at? He could shore up his mechanics. It's not always the cleanest. He can be a little, this is a criticism of Mahomes as well. Sometimes he plays a little fast and loose with his quarterback fundamentals. What would be a good option? Jaden Mayav is returning to USC. More on that tomorrow on the show. So that's not coming into play. What would be a good option? Who's kind of a quarterback whisperer that's brought in a couple transfer quarterbacks, had success? Wait a second. The Louisville Cardinals. Give me a reason why this doesn't work. Jeff Brom's track record is really good. He is Lincoln Riley East. He just takes quarterbacks and they just succeed. The worst quarterback, funny that I bring these two programs up, the worst quarterback that Lincoln Riley has had as a starting quarterback in college, probably Miller Moss, who just led Louisville to an 8-4 record, by the way. And look, I thought they were going to be slightly better than that, and Miller Moss wasn't spectacular. He was good, but he wasn't great. That's why USC went with Jaden Mayav, who they're getting more out of, and will have back for a season next year as well. They're re-signing it. I'm saving that for tomorrow. I think Louisville would be a great fit. If Raiola's looking to get out of the spotlight a little, but still have an opportunity to compete at a high level, I tell you what, Louisville would be a great fit. Because what Jeff Brom does is he takes a quarterback and just makes him the best version of himself. By the way, amidst all the schedule shuffling and all the griping about, legitimate gripes, by the way, some ACC schools will play 8 conference games, some will play 9. It's almost like these conferences are too big. Who could have seen that coming? I don't know. I don't know who could have seen that coming, but anyway. Here's Louisville's schedule next year. Do you know they open with Ole Miss on September 5th? Oof. Pete Golding led Ole Miss, potentially with Trinidad Chambliss, against Dylan Raiola and the Louisville Cardinals. That game is being played in Nashville, Tennessee. I tell you, that's quite the game. Of course, they've got Kentucky. Here's the rest of their schedule. You ready for this? Remember, Dylan Raiola won 7 games in 13 tries. Went 7-6 his first year at Nebraska. And then this past year was 6-2 and then got hurt. So maybe he's looking for some wins. They were doing well this year, but looking for something else. The rest of their schedule: Villanova, at Georgia Tech, Florida State, Pitt, SMU, Stanford, Wake Forest, at NC State, at North Carolina, and at Syracuse, not in that order. Does this sound like a place where Dylan Raiola could put up a lot of numbers? Where he could have a lot of success? I sure think so. There will certainly be other suitors, other options. Arizona State could be a dark horse here. I think Dylan Raiola to Louisville makes a lot of sense. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.